Talking about, yeah, that's great. Talking about stories, what has been your greatest challenge in life? I know you've probably experienced a lot of challenges, but what do you think is your greatest challenge in life? Whether it be business or relationships or maybe in faith, has it really tested you, perhaps?
Oh, I've always been tested plenty of times. I can speak from more recent
Okay.
point of view where I was challenged that you've got to stop judging people because we're told not to anyway. But
Yeah.
I realised that it's easy to judge someone that's getting cranky or angry or does something
And
to
look
you.
for the negative in the person.
And look for the negative.
Yeah.
Until I realised, when I went a little bit deeper with people, I found that actually an issue in their life was causing it. And when you realise it, you see them in a different light, and if you can help them through that, some people don't want to be helped, but a lot do, most do, fortunately, that they actually change when they have someone who's going to help them or guide them through that.
That's right.
And starting to see there's always a reason behind why a lot of people react certain ways.
Yeah. Based on experiences, upbringing, issues that they may be experiencing.
Yeah, and in some cases they were told they'll be useless or won't amount to anything, and that gets into people's spirit and has a negative impact. And when they realise there's a future, but inspiration, it comes from everywhere. I was just sitting down about 3 years ago watching this very old movie. My wife probably didn't, but she actually enjoyed it in the end. I don't know why. It was on television called The Gumball Rally.
Right.
It's a very old movie. And they race from the east to the west coast of America with the first one there wins.
Right.
No rules. Two of the stars jump in the sports car, and it's about the 12th or 14th minute in. They jump in the sports car, one rips off the rear vision mirror, throws it out the back.
Yeah, right.
And he says, in my words, in the Gumball Rally, there's nothing back there will help you. You see, the rear vision mirror is small and distorts a path, but the windscreen is wide, because that's all the opportunity. I got up, and Sue said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Oh, I've got to write that down because I'm sure I can use that." And I've used it a lot, which really challenges people because they've had an issue in life, health, relationship, financial, stop them in their tracks. They don't go anywhere. Their health suffers, relationship suffers, but when they realise the future is still there. A business guy I just read recently said, "I'm doing all my thinking and planning in the future because that's where I'm going."
Yeah, that's right. You're looking forward to something.
And that inspired me.
That's wonderful. Now, I also understand that in 2004, Gloria Jean's burned down. And you
2002.
2002. And you literally had to go put some fires out.
That's right.
Was that a big challenge? I mean, to a layperson, I mean, that would be, God, imagine your factories burning down.
Well, it was our warehouse, our roasting plant, our training. It was actually our whole head office. We only had one for national operations, 92 stores open. And, we get the call on October 3, 2002, 8 minutes past midnight, because that's what the digital clock said. And my wife...
that's very precise.
My wife got to the phone, well, that's why I remember. My wife got to the phone and said, "Oh, the warehouse is on fire." And I said, "Oh, thank goodness I'm dreaming." She said, "You're not." and I jumped out of bed, we got changed, we got there, and there was just only a few or 3 fire engines, and it was a trickle of smoke, and then it was a light in an hour, and burnt for 3 days, burnt to the ground. And after a few hours, the fire chief said, "You might as well go home, there's nothing you can do." I got home, said to my wife, "Look, I need to be back at 5:30. Just feel I need to be there before the warehouse guys arrive at 6. That's when they came. So I got back there 5:30, and I thought, today's going to be a different day. 3 television news helicopters, 31 fire engines, because I decided to count them.
Wow.
Heavy news media, they blocked the main road, and then at 5:30, this courier who was in Newcastle rang me and said, "I've heard the news. I've got 2 new store orders I picked up yesterday. Do you want me to bring it back?" And I go, I'm still tired. I'm thinking, what are we going to do? My partner's overseas visiting the coffee growing regions. And I thought, no, don't bring it back. We're going to open those 2 new stores tomorrow as a testament. I didn't know why, just sort of felt. At 6 o'clock, the roasting guys arrived. They hadn't heard the news. Man, I've never seen miserable faces. We've lost our jobs, our mortgages. I said, "It's okay, guys. The coffee's all roasted." They didn't laugh. The cleaner arrived. I said, "You're going to need more than that." She didn't laugh. So I said, "Guys, work with me. I'm trying to get on a roll here." And I rang one of our senior guys who was in bed. I said, "Get out. You need to get here. We need to divide our staff up." And at that point, Channel 9 stuck a camera and a mic in my face and said, "Look, They made sure the fire was raging in the background for being dramatic.
Yeah.
And, you know, they said, well, obviously going to have to close. I said, no, we're opening 2 new stores tomorrow, which went out on every news broadcast. It discouraged our competitors.
Wow.
But gave
How many stores did you have back
92.
Back 92 stores?
Yeah. And it went national, which was good. Our sales went up because people were coming in to support us, which was great with our product. But no store closed. The key part is that you get the right people, our staff and franchisees, locked arms together.
That's important.
And rebuilt the business.
Right. Because you had vision?
Well, I knew we weren't going to close.
Good.
I didn't know what we were going to do. Everyone said you must have had a great disaster recovery plan.
That's right.
Yes, it was evolving as we were talking. But we learned a lot about disaster recovery.
Right.
And we had great people who helped us get information off pretty damaged servers, and it was just a quirky guy who just knew how to do the stuff. And the staff just came early every day to my home, my neighbour's home, and other people. We just shared and divided everything, and we just day by day just rebuilt it. Talked to people, suppliers supported us.
Right.
So building the right, working together as a people will build your life, your relationships, businesses.
This is probably a hard question, but have you ever thought, this is it, this is finished, I'm going to have to shut it down? I mean...
Well, actually, I didn't think about that at the time of the fire, maybe because I'd been through too much by then.
Right.
In advertising and Glory Jeans. Yeah. But when we'd been going 6 months, we bought the concept from the US, and we didn't realise how flawed the model was. The product was terrific, just the model. So I came home one day and said to Sue, well, that's it. We've lost everything. By the end of this week, that's it. She said, no, you don't understand.
It's not over until God says it's over.
Well, I didn't think about it at that time, later in the week. But she reminded me, as all good wives do, is that, what God's birth is going to make happen. So at the end of the week, I was out walking the streets, and then, I said to God, if you've got a miracle, man, today is a good day for it. Because it was desperate. Yeah. Now, we didn't see, miracle like the business will thrive the next day, but a call came. I think in about a day, a call came from a guy, and he said, I've been watching this first store of yours, because that's all we had was 2 open, and he said, I run a men's fashion, I own it, I just don't know, for some reason I'm passionate about this business. I said, well, we're not ready, He pursued us, and he said, I'll help you build it, and he was a difficult guy, but he knew retail, and he helped us build the business. He paid to buy that store as a franchise. And, we really honour that guy because
he kept on. He saw
it was
the vision.
that notch, that first step. Well, we're probably only halfway up the first step of the ladder. And, it was just little things like that slowly started to turn it around. So the miracle happened. Wow. And if it all happens at once, sometime we're not ready for it. We probably weren't ready for it.
Yeah, right. And so, out of all these challenges and setbacks that you've had in your life, what do you think is the one thing that has been the main contributor to overcoming them?
Well, I think is getting the vision of where you want to go, not this year but in the future, and saying that's where I'm going. See, even in the global financial crisis, a lot of business people ditched their vision and ran around in circles and just stagnated or went backwards. The ones that lifted their vision going today and are prospering and don't suffer the problems that other businesses are, because they said that's where we're going, and they didn't allow these things to deflect them. And that's what we kept doing, kept reminding ourselves, that's where we're going.
Yep.
We're not sure how we're going to get there, but that's where we're going.
Right.
And that's what gets you up in the morning.
That's right. Because vision is something that is you. I mean, you become part of your vision, isn't it?
Yeah. And too many people start a business or career and they're not passionate about it. I mean, today there's so many opportunities to just follow your vision and passion.
But how do you find your passion? I mean, there's probably a lot of young people listening to this, and I get a lot of young people saying to me, Cole, but I don't know what I want to do in life. I don't even know what's going to happen to me past school or past university. I'm doing this degree, but God, I don't really know what I want to do. How do you...
Well, there's a great book by John Maxwell, Put Your Dreams to the Test, the 10 Questions.
Love that book.
And, some of the questions he asked, which is the ones a few of them I was asking other people, I've got more now, from his book. But the one is, just think, what are you really passionate about? I don't mean what you're doing now, but what's something that really turns you on? If it's helping people in life, then maybe you need to be out, in a not-for-profit or capacity there. if you sort of like numbers and finance,
Mm.
and there are people who do,
Mm.
then, you know, maybe it's mortgage broking, it's a banker, it's an accountant, you know, there's many areas you can go into. Some people just have a passion for retail or love fashion. Now, they can look at fashion design, they can look at working in retail or merchandising in retail. There's many ways to go. And to me, you just start the journey. You ring people who are in that area and say, can I talk to you for an hour? Just give me an hour or half an hour of your time just to ask some questions. Now, some people might say no, but most will actually help a young person in that way. Would you be prepared to sacrifice everything for your dream or passion?
Right.
And you'll go, no, then it's not what you're passionate about.
Right.
You know, because in Glory Jeans we were passionate. We went through some very tough times financially,
But
where
then
we
again,
had to borrow or we had to sell off stuff at a loss to put money in the business. Would you do that?
Yeah.